These APC politicians, they just come on TV, they bamboozle people, say all sorts of things, yet they blame other parties, they blame other people for doing same thing they are doing. Because it was recalled that Tinubu said, power is not served a la carte. It should be snatched, grabbed, and run away with, which everybody witnessed on the election day. It played out just like Kenneth Okonkwo mentioned. It played out on the election day because the likes of Lagos, Rivers, even in Kogi State, I know where some guys were snatching ballot boxes. In fact, a guy, I think he just finished his youth corps, was shot to death, but he lost his life. And now people, they are telling you that it was your guy, the president-elect, that said it, and then he did it. That day, people were intimidated. Violence, somebody was stabbed on her face, and now look at what an APC spokesperson is saying. Look at how he's justifying that statement
about these allegations of incitement by Festus Keyamo, because I'm seeing a statement written by them. He says, on many occasions after the declaration of Tinubu as the winner of the election, his public speeches and utterances have centered on reconciliation, forgiveness, and a greater vision of Nigeria. Do you believe that statement?
That's a big lie.
It's flat lie. And I'm sorry to say, just like Niyi has just made his well-known bombastic lies. He said Enugu, he said Anambra. He didn't mention one example. MC Oluomo told anybody who does not want to vote for APC not to come near the polling unit. And he fulfilled the threat. In Lagos, a lady was blinded. And she still went back to vote.
She's not fully blinded, actually.
Fully. And still went back to vote. Lagos. And the Igbos were told not to come out in Lagos openly. It is there. Let him cite one. I'm from Enugu. I voted in Enugu. Let him cite one or two specific incidents. Time has gone for all those, throwing up statistics that are non-existent. And now, I told you, after the election, you know what Bola Tinubu said? The Igbos came to Lagos when they were 12 years, and now they are not voting for us. This is supposed to be conciliatory. I said, if there is anybody that should be taken to the DSS, the person is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And I told you before he came, that he came out openly to tell his followers, power is not served a la carte. Then what is democracy? If power is not served a la carte, the whole idea of democracy is peaceful transition of power from one person to the other. And you're telling your people, fight for it at all costs, grab it at all costs, snatch it at all costs.
But that statement was made as early as last year.
No,
before the presidential election, during the Chatham House statement. When Bola Ahmed Tinubu made that statement, a lot of people expected that the security services will also caution him on that statement. But that didn't happen. So why did you rush to the DSS without quoting Tinubu's statement?
It's more than 20 years old. That power is not served a la carte is the motivational speech. The content of the motivational speech that Bola Tinubu usually presents to his followers when especially they are going into election. And the whole idea is to galvanize people and to mobilize the supporters to say that if you have to get this power, you must reach out, you must overextend yourself. It is not about sleeping in the house.
It doesn't include taking up arms or stopping people from voting or voter suppression.
I'm saying the first time I heard this particular statement from him was in 2002 when he was preparing for 2003 election. And it was to his supporters to say power is not served a la carte, is that you do not sit back in a democracy and wait for fight for power to be delivered unto you. That is just the meaning of it. But you see, when people have their own consciousness of lying, of twisting issues, that is what you get. For every statement you make, people with such kind of vile consciousness tend to twist this thing.
But it says some of your party leaders are also doing that. Like people like Femi Fani-Kayode on Twitter, going very personal, going very tribal, including people like Festus Keyamo, including people like Bayo Onanuga and all of that. Shouldn't Bola Ahmed Tinubu be cautioning his spokesman too?
Every issue that had been at the front burners, our spokesperson at issue releases and to that release you can hold them for it. It's not just about bystanders comments or pedestrian comments. You have read Festus Keyamo's release now. You can of course rationalize and analyze contextually what he meant by what he's saying. So when you have had somebody saying something, power is not served a la carte. That every member, every follower of Tinubu had imbibed and internalized since 2003 and 2002, and is now becoming an issue in 2023, you know, by opposition that have lost power, lost election.
He said that you have lost election.
He's talking about somebody lying in Enugu. While he talked about one woman that was hit in Lagos. Yes. Okay, all right. But we also know a particular man was pursued out of the polling units.
For wanting to vote.
Yes. Let me give the example. A particular man. I do not know it's there in the social media.
All right. Kenneth Okonkwo, let's come back to you and the Labour Party. Now, your vice presidential candidate is saying that Tinubu should not be sworn in on May 29, or it will be the end of democracy. If he's not sworn in, there's no vacuum in power. What will happen, after May 29?
Good. Thank you very much. And let me tell you who lost. Because P2B did not only win, he humiliated them.
Well, according to our next figures, he came third.
Hold on, he was the only person that made 25% in the whole 6 geopolitical zones, including the FCT. He won him in his principal's home state, won him in the national chairman of APC state, he won him in the DG of APC state, he won him everywhere. And what? Even in FCT. His
which is the controversial
make 25%. Aspect. So what I'm telling you is that he not only won them, he humiliated them.
But according to INEC figures, he came third. Good. Now, you're saying
Thank you for saying according to INEC figures.
Yes. Now, what I'm interested in is finding out what should happen on May 29. Not even after May 29.
Now, let us go to what Baba Ahmed said. Let us say what Baba Ahmed said.
Some people.
Baba Ahmed. Just hold on. I have the floor. Let's hear from him quickly as we try to round off the conversation.
Like I told you, the paragraph 20 of our petition. Good. We are in court. Baba Ahmed was called. Why are you in court? He said, we have a petition, and this is our grounds. If you don't believe in your ground, why are you going to court? If I believe
that same interview, he said he didn't believe in the judicial process. Now, what should happen after May 29?
No, he did not say so. I have my doubts about the judicial process. That was what he was saying. No, he said it that if the Supreme Court gives judgment, he will accept. But that does not mean.
Yeah, but he also said that this same Supreme Court made somebody who came forth as the governor of Imo State, and as such, the Supreme Court seems to be losing grasp of the people's will.
Are you aware of the Zamfara judgment that declared the whole APC votes wasted votes and made people to come first overnight? That's what we're saying. That the votes that his principal had are wasted votes. Because at the time of election, he was not qualified. And let me break it down.
The court
no, that's what I'm saying. Let me break it down.
Very quickly as we round off this.
He was not qualified because he chose to nominate a vice presidential candidate who, at the time he nominated him as vice presidential candidate, was having the nomination of Boronu, not senatorial.
The PDP went to court on that, and just on Friday, that case was dismissed.
You would allow me to finish. Which Friday? We're talking about double. Friday. We're talking about double nomination, and they couldn't have gone to that case because we're talking about tribunal. And let me tell you, Section 35 of the Electoral Act is very clear. A double nomination makes the nomination void, and that means the candidacy of his principal is void. Again, the candidate did not win 25% in the FCT. And he said you cannot declare him if he did not win. And then again, in the process of election, as brief as I can be.
Very quickly, so that he will respond.
Having wasted votes, we are no longer third. We are first. We won in Rivers, we won in Taraba, We won it by our own petition, which we believe in.
Okay, so now,
Tinubu is not the president-elect. That is why
who is the president-elect? Who is the president-elect?
If you ask me, I will tell you the president-elect by our petition.
These people are suffering from delusion.
Okay, now they are saying that President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu should not be sworn in on May 29. What should happen on that day? Yes, I mean, Dirty Baba Ahmed said so. So what do we do on that day?
He said if he's sworn in,
it is part of the delusion that they are suffering from. I am praying that they should quickly go get the attention of a psychiatrist. Seriously.
Is that not so hard on them? I mean, because they are raising constitutional matters.
I am here. Who is talking more coherently?
Please, now, is it not also obvious that there is a problem with their fixation on reality if they cannot accept the fact that they didn't even have up to 25% in up to 18 states?
According to the declaration of INEC.
You know, well, I don't know if Labour Party has INEC now.
Well, they are claiming that based on their own tabulation, they had more than Atiku and Tinubu.
Based on our own tabulation, based on INEC's tabulation, we have more than 25% in more than 30 states of the federation.
Except the FCT. What of that of the FCT that you're talking about?
FCC is just another state. It is just another state by the constitution. The FCT, by the constitutional definition of it, is not bigger, stronger, and more important than any other state in Nigeria.
All right, gentlemen, I'm afraid we just have to start rounding off very quickly. Okay. I'll give you 30 seconds each to round off before FCT. We go.
Now, the constitution is very clear. Before you are declared the winner, you have to have the majority vote and 25% in at least 2/3 of the states and the FCT. The words of the constitution is very clear. FCT is not a state in Nigeria.
Well, there's a Supreme Court judgment.
No, he said in section 299. He said in interpreting the constitution.
30 minutes.
In interpreting the constitution, the FCT should be treated as a state. But let me tell you, in section 299, he said the president of Nigeria is the governor.
Yes.
Good. Is there any governor that will be declared governor in his state without winning 2/3 of the 25% in 2/3 of the local government? And then you're telling the governor of FCT that is not supposed to have 25%. Where did you get that from? The constitution is very clear. If you're a citizen of FCT, you want to be discriminated against. No, the person that should be your governor should have 25% of your consent before being your governor.
Well, these are issues that are left for the court. So your own 30 seconds, before you go. Kenneth Okonkwo, let's just have give him very quickly as we allow you to go. Yeah.
It is simple. The FCT, from the day it was created, we had always in common parlance referred to it as Nigeria's 36 states and the FCT. For the day it had been considered.
And the and now is the question. That's where the argument lies.
The hand,
just hold on.
The hand principally created a conjunction to it. So that because as at that time it was not enjoying the favor of being a full-fledged state. So therefore, if you are doing something across states, you will have to consider it as part of the 36
Okay, so but with the new Supreme Court judgment, you are saying that it's now a state.
It should be treated as a state, not as a super state.
Well, these are some of the issues that we dominate the presidential election petitions tribunal. I've been trying to avoid going into those issues so that we don't go into the legal grounds. But of course, gentlemen,
I am not a lawyer.
You're a lawyer. You understand some of the issues. But our own appeal as journalists is for you to ensure that the rhetoric that's going out there doesn't lead to violence. Of course, there can't be vacuum in power. So by May 29th, something must happen for the courts and then for the authorities to decide. But we must thank you so much, gentlemen.
That is why you just have to advise them, APC.
We must thank you, gentlemen.
Nigeria will celebrate the inauguration Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Listen to what is justifying that statement with. Look at the reason he's giving. He's twisting it, and then he's accusing somebody of twisting word. Trust Kenneth Okonkwo, serve it to him hot. You don't want to miss this argument. In fact, now somebody maybe they slap themselves.